would like to introduce the next speaker, Divij. Divij is 14 years old and is in 9th grade. He goes to Westford Academy. He's lived in Massachusetts since he was born. His hobbies include painting, playing video games, and going camping with his friends. In conclusion, Divij is very creative and enthusiastic. Now I would like to introduce Divij.
Guys, give him a big hand.
Hello everybody, my name is Divij Kunaparaju, and today I'm going to be talking about poaching. But before I start, I'd like to thank Karina for her amazing speech on public speaking and her introduction for me. Today I'm going to be talking about 3 main points. First, I'll talk about the distinction between hunting and poaching. Then I'll talk about some interesting facts about poaching, and end off with a quick story about poaching. First, let's talk about the distinction between poaching and hunting. The crucial distinction is where it sits in the eyes of the law. Put simply, poaching is just hunting without the permission of the landowner. This can be for 2 main reasons. Either it's private land, or they're trying to protect the animals. Poachers know what they're doing is a bad thing, but they do it because the sale of their goods can prove to be extremely lucrative. Some of the goods that are in high demand include rhino horns, elephant tusks, and tiger hides. The main reason poaching is looked down on by society is because of the effect it has on animals. It's putting endangered animals into extinction and new animals into endangerment all the time. This is not only bad for the animals, but it has a really bad effect on the food chain and the environment as a whole. Okay, now before I go any further, I'd like to ask you all a question. Do any of you know what you call an elephant that doesn't matter? Anybody? An irrelevant. Okay, let's move on. Now let's talk about some interesting facts about poaching. The first one is interesting, but actually pretty sad as well. Just in South Africa alone, in 2012, there was 660 rhinos poached. By 2013, this number had increased to 946. This has been a common trend among pretty much all animals. And the worst part is, for animals such as elephants, it's the matriarchs, or the big, strong leaders of the groups that are poached. This causes the group to hustle to find a new leader, and if they don't, it leaves the babies unattended, without food or protection, which causes them to die as well. Another fact is that some of these goods, such as rhino horns and elephant tusks, are some of the biggest in demand because they're used in traditional medicines. The reason I say medicines is because they've actually been proven to have no medicinal value. In fact, rhino horn has the same exact medicinal value as chewing on your fingernails, aka none. Some of these goods are very common, and we know why, because they're expensive and things like that. But there's actually some weirder goods. For example, bear gallbladder. Bear gallbladder actually gets top dollar on the black market because it's used in Chinese herbal remedies. Another one is the bighorn sheep antlers. Just one set of antlers from this animal can get over $20,000 US. I've also told you that tiger skin is used because it looks so pretty, but tigers are used for a lot more than that. In fact, they use their eyes, internal organs, and even flesh. Now that I've shared with you a couple interesting facts, I'd like to tell you all a quick story, which was actually the inspiration for this speech. Basically, in September of 2015, there was a taxidermist, or a person who recreates models of animals that you see in museums and places like that. So this taxidermist named George Dante had a brilliant idea. He was going to create a set of elephant tusks that looked so real that no poacher would be able to tell them apart from real tusks. Then he would place a GPS tracking chip in them so he could see which roads it took, which ports it left, ships it traveled on, and camps that it stayed in. So he finished his little project and made the tusks, and then he reached out to the U.S. Wildlife Service and National Geographic. With their help, and with the help of a man named Brian Christie, he was able to get these tusks into circulation, but it wasn't an easy process. Brian Christie left from the U.S., and he was on his way when he got stopped in the Tanzanian airport. Tanzania has a huge poaching market, so they don't tolerate it. He was immediately arrested, and there was a huge commotion in the airport. He would have to spend the rest of the night sleeping on a metal desk, just praying that the U.S. Embassy would rescue him, and fortunately, they did. Next morning, they rescued him after a bit of arguing, and he was set back on his way. He continued his journey and met a man named Joseph Kony, a resistance army leader. This man would allow the tusks to be placed directly into the supply chain and start their journey. So Joseph Kony placed them directly in the supply chain, and after waiting 3 weeks, they started their journey, traveling 16 miles a day for about 240 miles. They crossed their first border into South Sudan, and there they stopped for about a couple days at a camp called Kafia King. Then they continued their journey and reached their final destination in Sudan. Judging by the heat sensors on the tracking chip, they were either underground or in a warehouse. This whole journey allowed the U.S. Wildlife Service to uncover new routes that they had no idea about. It was really helpful to everyone, and it uncovered new poaching routes. I thought that was a really cool story that I had to share with all of you. So today we talked about 3 things: the difference between poaching and hunting, some interesting facts about poaching, and a quick story about poaching. I hope that after listening to my speech, you've all understood what a big problem this is. And with the help of all of you, if you spread the word, we can end this worldwide problem. Thank you.